What is up, everybody? This is Life's Apprentice. And today we're doing something a little bit interesting and hopefully beneficial for you people out there that are in the dumpster business or wanting to start in the dumpster business, or maybe you're just curious and like to learn. So first thing, like always, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my other dumpster videos. And we're going to be talking with Hometown Dumpster Rental. And this is Scott. Scott, what is your role at Hometown Dumpster Rental?
Yeah,
Or your
Justin,
title?
sure. Thanks for including me. I'm in charge of sales and marketing for Hometown.
Awesome. Awesome. How long have you been with Hometown?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm one of the three owners. I started it back we've been here for almost 13 years now. We started in 2008, but yeah, been working the dumpster rental market across the country for a while now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we've been using Hometown for roughly 3 months. And I'm telling you, it absolutely works. And going into winter here, we noticed some slowdown in our phone calls. And so about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago now, we reached out to you guys, increased our area a little bit and moved into some new markets. And we noticed immediate results. And I mean, it leads to sales. So take some time and explain to people what exactly you guys do for the dumpster business.
Sure. I'm going to do that by sharing my screen, if that's okay, Justin. We work with countries or companies all over the country. And what we do is we generate live phone leads, people wanting to rent a roll-off container from Hometown. The way our service works, once you sign up with Hometown, we purchase a local phone number. So in your case, you've got a 920 area code. So we purchase a 920 phone number, and then we put you on our city pages within that area across the country. Being that you guys are up in Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, Appleton area in Wisconsin, we've got city pages that we've put Greenhead Recycling on in order to generate more roll-off dumpster business. But we haven't done a Super Bowl commercial, so people don't know to go to Hometown Dumpster Rental in order to rent a container. What we do is we have done search engine optimization. My business partner does that side of the business. And when you would go to a website or go to a Google, Bing, or Yahoo window and search dumpster rental Fond du Lac, you'd see when the results come back, you see the Google Maps popping up here. These are things that Google puts out. You can see a company that you've heard of quite dramatically, Greenhead. And then you can see the different results down here. These are the organic search results. And where we tend to play and get found is in the organic search results. So that's where people find us when they do a search. Now, when you click on that page, this is our Hometown Dumpster Rental page, you'll see that Greenhead Recycle shows up as a great local choice to rent a roll-off dumpster. If you click on this even further, you can see that's the local 920 tracking number. That Greenhead has a profile page with some information about them. We got to get Justin to send some more photos to prop that up a little bit more, but you can see these are the dumpster sizes, the areas that he services. And then what we do is work to get our pages ranked when people do a Chester, Wisconsin search for dumpster rental or a Berlin, Wisconsin search, that our Berlin page would pop up. They'd see Justin and call to get a quote for a roll-off dumpster.
Exactly. Yeah. And as far as you were saying, like with the Google and stuff, like in Fond du Lac, if you're looking up Fond du Lac, we do rank really high in Fond du Lac. But if you look up most of those other cities, you guys, Hometown is going to rank way before us. And that is a big deal, especially for a small business, because you guys put in the money and do a lot of the SEO work. And so we don't have to, small businesses.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I think our relationship, I think one of the things that we learned too recently is I always tell people when times are slow, you know, we get calls all the time like you did and said, hey, I'm a little slower. I can go further, expand my service area to a 50-mile radius. And that's what we did. And like you said, you started to see an increase in calls. In the springtime, when things start to pick up, we have people call up and say, let's go back to a 30-mile radius. I'd rather burn less fuel, stay closer to home, be more competitive, and we can do that at any time. So that's a great use of our service to help you utilize some extra marketing to get you more business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, one thing that I would like to show Justin, and Justin gave me permission to do this, was this is some of his data. We have a lead tracking center is what it's called for Hometown Local. And what it is that 920 local tracking number that we have for Justin. All the calls that come in on that number get recorded. The date, the time, the duration, the call itself is recorded. Justin has access to all those recordings, so he can go listen and see if these are turning into book dumpsters for the price that he's paying from Hometown. But I just wanted to show a calls summary report. And this is I'm going to point out August through end of October, so through today. We've sent Justin 49 total calls. 49 of those were unique. Or I'm sorry, 40 of those were unique. And what a unique call is we don't call or we don't charge for multiple calls from the same number. It counts as one unique call. So if somebody calls to pick up the container or calls to swap it out, those multiple calls only count as one Hometown charge. But one of the things that this really showed, Justin and I were looking at this before we started, you can see things kind of slow down in August. A lot of people go on vacation. We tend to see a big slowdown before school starts. You can see things start to pick up a little bit, but here in October, things started to get cold up in the Midwest. And when that happens, calls start to slow down. But right around here is when Justin called and we expanded Greenhead's service area to a 50-mile radius. And you can see all of a sudden this dramatic increase in the number of calls. And Justin, you had mentioned some of that earlier as well.
And it led to sales. I'm telling you for a fact, I know that it did. Not every phone call is going to lead to a sale. That's just life. But, the more you can get, the more likely you're going to get that sale. And, it has to do with how you talk to your customers, answering the phone. That always helps. It's I would say for us, 50% lead to a sale. Some days, you might get 2 or 3 calls and, they don't lead to a sale. And the next day you get 2 or 3 calls and all of them lead to a sale. So I'd say it's about 50. And, but I mean, it works. It works for sure. And the nice thing about it for the people out there watching is a lot of advertising takes time. So the nice thing about this is when I called on Friday, on Monday, the phone calls started coming in. And it would have probably been sooner had you guys been working all weekend, but I would assume you take off the weekends like the rest of us. And but it'll literally change your business and get you calls the next day, or it has the potential to.
I just want to put a disclaimer out here, Justin. We don't guarantee any phone calls, but if we don't send you any leads, you don't pay. The way our service works, if we don't do our job, then your bill's going to be zero.
Right.
Yeah, but thank you for that. And as you see in this data, and these reports are something that you have access to. It comes with our system. They're not additional charges or anything like that. You can get in here and look at these at any time. But one of the things that we were looking at together was you can see different days of the week when you get more phone calls. Tuesdays seem to be a busy day, but we noticed that at 10 a.m. they even go to that granular level, that 10 a.m. are when most of the calls happen. And I told Justin it probably would make sense to make sure someone is manning the phones every day at 10 a.m. because that's when the busiest time and the most calls come in with people looking to rent a container.
Absolutely.
So that's fantastic data. And then each of these is the call itself. You can dig in deeper and listen to each of the calls that come in, but we just give you, full access to the system. It's the same system we use to do our billing. So it's not like we can't show you that a call occurred on a date or a time. But
Right.
the big thing I tell people all the time, Justin, is wherever we're sending these calls to with our software, we urge the phone to get answered 80 to 90% of the time, because that's your opportunity. And when they miss or get a voicemail, they'll hang up and call someone else on the internet.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes for any business or any sort of marketing. You have to answer your phone, especially if you need jobs or if you need rentals. You have to answer your phone.
Yep.
And that's just a small portion of the data. If you look on the side of the screen, there's a lot more data in there. Um,
Sure. I had mentioned and showed Justin, we have a geography report. So it does a overview of your top zip codes where you can see where calls are coming in. And, with 3 months of data, it's pretty interesting. The one thing that he had pointed out too is you can see there's 4 calls from Appleton, which we added on that Friday for that zip code. There's some more here, 3 more. So there's 7 that I see just popping up for Appleton. And those had, you weren't even on the Appleton page before, 2
right.
weeks ago. So,
That's in the last week.
yep,
Yep. And we've set multiple dumpsters in that area.
good. But yeah, that's kind of my overview. I kind of wanted to have a overview slide to pull up. You called me before I was quite ready, but here's my contact information. If somebody wants to get in touch with me, my direct number's on there, or you can call our 800 number and get through to me as well. But would love to talk to anybody, answer any more questions. Do you have more questions for me, Justin?
Well, what does it cost?
Oh, sure. Great question. We charge $8.95 for each unique lead that we generate from our hometown tracking number. And that's billed once a month. On the first of the month, you'll get an invoice. And then that's how we can capture to make sure we're not charging you for the duplicate numbers that come in.
Right. Okay. What would you tell someone who's out there and maybe on the fence, or, you know, what would you tell them, as far as this goes? How would you sell them, I guess, on
Right.
hometown?
Well, there's a couple different things. I know any money you spend on marketing that doesn't work is horrible. It's not a good spend. With us, we don't tie you to a contract. There's no setup fee, no initial, $200 to get started. There's no annual fee. It's a pay for performance model. And so when we put you on our pages, if we don't generate the leads, your bill will be zero at the end of the month. So it's kind of a no risk. If we don't perform, then you don't pay. So that's what I always tell people. Give it a try for a month, see what you think. If you don't like it, you can always leave. We just don't want people on our hometown pages who don't want to be there. That's why we don't have long-term contracts and stuff. But our goal is to generate good, valid leads, because then you'll want to stay with hometown. If you went and listened to your calls and they weren't good and you weren't booking jobs, you probably would say hometown isn't worth it. But we give you that ability to measure the return on your investment. And that's probably the biggest thing that I like to point out to people.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. I like paying for results, and I know with this model, it's easy to do. You guys literally do pretty much all the work for us as a small business, and all we have to do is answer the phone. And you guys are definitely getting us calls. I know you said you don't guarantee calls, but in general, with your customers, how long does it in general take for them to see results?
Sure. It really varies. We have 20,000 city pages across the country that we've built out. So we've got pages all over the country that are already getting found in the search engines. So that's the nice thing about us, is if you sign up in St. Paul, Minnesota, we've already got pages around there that we can put you on. It usually takes us 2 to 3 business days to get a local number, get your logo, get you up. But probably within a week to 2 weeks, you'll start to see your phone's ringing with
Yep.
calls from hometown.
And well, I know the answer to this, but how do you know if it's a hometown call other than going to the data?
Yeah, we've got something. I know it's set up for you. We can set up what's called a whisper file. so that when your phone rings, you'll get a recorded message that says hometown call, and then the call goes live. So that's one way for you to know. Another
Yep.
way is you can get online to this system. We could go to your call log and look at all the calls that you receive in a particular day, week, time period, and listen to each of those calls. So we give you that ability to do that at any time. So those are multiple ways that you'll know that it's coming from us. And then the other thing we had talked about the other day is, even though you're booking more dumpsters, they're out in subdivisions and neighborhoods, your billboard, your dumpster phone number on your dumpster is going to get called as well. And that's something that is an indirect sale that may help when you get more dumpsters out there. You're going to get a direct call from your phone number on your container, but that's something we can't readily measure. But
Right.
we like to think that we help you in those ways as well, generate more business.
Well, and I know that works too. I mean, that's why like our dumpsters are painted bright colors. We have a 2 foot by 8 foot sticker on both sides. Giant, very noticeable, very distinguishable. And you get a lot of calls, you know, hey, I saw the neighbors, I called off your dumpster. And some of it may even be a year later where, hey, you had that dumpster there last year. Who was that? And they say, oh, it's Greenhead. And then they'll look you up. So like you said, the indirect sales of just having your dumpster in a neighborhood can really add up. And I think
Right.
that's one of the best ways to market your business in general as a small business is having your dumpsters out. That's one of the
Exactly.
best ways I think to market it.
Right. Well, one thing you made me think of when you were talking about that, if you recall on my screen here, I'm doing dumpster rental Oshkosh. And one of the things that you see on our Oshkosh page, you know, we've got Greenhead. You know, there's not a lot of dumpster companies in that area. If you were to go to look at our Tampa Bay area, so I'm looking at our hometown Tampa Bay, we've got multiple companies on these pages. So I'm not saying that we can't generate leads. I'm just saying when there's more people on a page or in an area, it gets a little harder to get more calls because there's such a competition. So
Right.
if you sign up today, more than likely you're going to bubble towards the top of the page through our algorithm than somebody who signs up 6 months from now. So I kind of call it a herd mentality. The quicker you get in, the more your tenure score is going to help push you to the top versus somebody who signs up, you know, 6 months from now and they're hoping to be ahead of Greenhead. That doesn't always happen just because you've got a tenure coefficient that's pushing you higher than someone else.
Will like the reviews and the stars on there, will that help rank you up higher in a more saturated market too?
Yeah, we haven't incorporated that, but what we have found is people when they land on a page and they see someone with multiple reviews, they'll get
Yes.
the phone calls before someone else who has 0 or 1 review or whatever. But definitely that does help. We haven't put that into effect yet because somebody doesn't have reviews doesn't mean that they're not good. They just may be a newer client and we haven't generated those yet. We do have tools that you can send to your customers to create a hometown review for you. If you have a good experience, we'd urge you to do that. But we try and generate 1 to 2, maybe 3 reviews for each of our clients every year. We've got a back end process that looks to see
Sure.
if you've booked a dumpster, and we follow up to see what their rating was and try and generate some more reviews for you and for Greenhead.
Sure. That's really nice. I mean, again, you guys are doing the work for us.
Yep.
Now, I noticed too, a lot of those, like in the Tampa area, a lot of those were junk removal too. So if you're in junk removal or roll off, you might be on the same page, but you're offering two different things. The other thing, and I'm sure you could do this in a saturated market like that, if you're just starting out or you're a smaller business, is say you are from Tampa. Maybe you don't advertise right in Tampa. Maybe you can move to some of the surrounding communities near you, and you might get a better presence there. Do you think that would work?
It can, most definitely. It's just that a lot of people in those smaller communities will search on Tampa because they know that Braden, Florida might not be as found or as prevalent. Um,
Sure.
but we're not opposed to putting you wherever you want. If there's certain areas where you want a certain county and you just don't want to be in one city because you can't take containers there or it's too hard. Or I should show a map of your location because you've got a big lake between you that you're fighting with all the time. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get all the way around a lake and go leave a dumpster. I'm going to zoom in on that so people can see. So you're somewhat in this area over here, correct?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
getting leads in Chilton.
Yeah. And then Lake Winnebago is 10 miles across and 30 miles north to south. So as a crow flies, it's only 10 miles, but to get there, it's a 50-mile drive.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is, I mean, it is, we do go around, but we have to charge more in general. And all of the competition, they don't want to go out there either. So we get a lot of calls from that area because people need a dumpster and no one will service it. So I guess as we grow our business, that's a niche that we kind of fill for people. And a lot of people, you tell them you add another $100 onto their dumpster for the driving time and stuff like that, and they don't even blink because they don't have any other options. And I mean, we're kind of in a rural area. I'm not super rural, but around us is just cornfields and cows and soybeans, you know. And the towns that we operate out of, Oshkosh and Fond du Lac, are about both 70,000 population. And when you get to the north into some of the bigger cities towards Green Bay, the market is just saturated, like you were showing with Tampa. So it's hard to get your foot in the door in those bigger communities because there's so much competition.
Yep. Yeah. So that's another disclaimer why I wanted to show the Tampa, because it may be different markets, you know, are readily accepted quicker because there's less competition, or really it comes down to search, because everything we do, we don't have billboards on the side of the road trying to get people to go to hometown dumpster rental. We're totally in search. So if there's people searching in certain areas, great, we can hopefully generate leads. But you know, some markets it works great, and I'm glad it's worked well for you.
Yeah, absolutely, it has. I think that pretty much answered all the questions I had.
Perfect.
And I would imagine that, you know, people got the information out of that. And hopefully if they're on the fence, they'll at least try. It doesn't hurt to try. And if you're starting a business or you're struggling or winter's coming and you just need more phone calls, you really don't have anything to lose.
Right.
I mean, that would be what I would tell somebody. You don't have anything to lose. And if your profit margin on a dumpster is $100 or $200 in general, a $9 phone call is nothing in comparison to that dumpster sitting around.
Exactly. Yeah, and I saw your video with your whiteboard. I remember writing down how many dumpsters you had and how everything works. This gives you that whiteboard to continue to dig into and dig deeper into your data as well. So, you know, it's knowing, you know, the ins and outs and what it costs and is it working for you
Right.
overall. So I think that's the really nice thing about how our service hopefully can benefit you and other new dumpster companies out there.
Yep. Yep. Or even a company that's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 50 dumpsters and you just need to sell a couple more a week, or you just want to move into a new area, this is a quick, easy way to get your foot in a new town or, you know, a new area that you can start getting calls potentially overnight, where a lot of other marketing things might take weeks or months to really truly work.
Yeah, perfect. Justin, you're a salesman of the month. Great job.
Awesome. I have
Any other
nothing but
questions?
praise for you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. And if you have any other questions or anyone wants to contact me, that'd be great. hometowndumpsterrental.com.
Yep. And I'll leave a link in the description below my video of all your guys' contact information, website, phone number. And then you had emailed me a week ago of a video that you guys had made. And for some reason, when I was looking the other day, I don't know if the email got deleted or I couldn't find it. Can you resend that?
Sure.
That way I can put that underneath the video too, and people can watch that.
Yep.
If they want to.
Yeah, Aaron, one of our content people, did a great job putting together a video of how it works. Probably a more generic example, but it's great to look at data like yours and show people what's really happening. So yeah, I'll send that over.
Awesome. Well, thanks.
Great.
Thanks for talking to me.
All right.
Maybe
Well,
we'll
thanks
do
so
it
much.
again next year. We'll
Sounds
see
great.
how people respond to it. I think people will appreciate it. And I guarantee you guys will get some phone calls. And that's, I guess, my job with YouTube, and is just, I guess, giving back and trying to help people that might be scared. I know when I quit my job and started my roofing business, it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life. But looking back now, it is by far the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. And it was also scary. People are scared to do it, and I don't blame them, because I was too, but you won't regret it.
Right.
I know that. And no different than you. I mean, starting this, I don't know where your background is, but I'm sure it was scary at first,
Sure.
and
Oh yeah.
13 years later, I mean, that's when I started my business, was 2009.
Right.
And right after the recession, I was young and thought I knew everything, and I didn't. And but greatest decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
And now I'm addicted to it. Now I'm starting businesses all the time,
That's
and I
great.
just love it. I love it.
The one thing we talked about last week too is even with COVID and everything that's going on, dumpster rental waste removal is an essential business. So I've had people say, boy, I really want to start something that is not going to get shut down by COVID because a restaurant gets shut down or a bowling alley or something. And, I think your path down this trek of dumpster rental is a good market that's hopefully, pretty solid moving forward, that you won't be shut down for other reasons.
Right. If we get shut down for any other reason, it's my fault.
Amen.
And
Well, thanks for
it's not going to be. I will fight tooth and nail and do whatever I have to do to make it work. And I guess every entrepreneur has to do that.
Right.
But
great, Dustin. Well, thanks for the time
awesome.
today.